Alright, the Reds, it is Talking Reds live from Liverpool with me, Gareth Roberts, him, Neil Atkinson, and you. Nice one for watching. We are going to react first of all then to the Champions League. The rest of them have finally caught up and qualified. The mighty Reds did that a long time back.
Weeks ago, there's been an international break and everything since.
Ages ago, we boxed it off and we still beat AC Milan even though we made 8 changes. So that was Sam on it. So the teams we can get in the next round then, in the knockout round, are as follows. Sporting, Benfica, PSG, Villarreal or Atalanta, Inter Milan, not coming back there, we'd beat them if we did though, and Salzburg. So who do you want?
I will take either Portuguese. I'll take Salzburg. If Villarreal get through, I think it'd be miserable, but I think we'd have too much for them. I think Atalanta are capable of throwing a mad one in against anyone, to be honest with you, so I'm not all over Atalanta. I think Inter Milan, again, I mean, I back Liverpool against anybody at the moment, of course you would, but it's what you want to be doing. The other issue with this as well is I'd quite like Atalanta or Paris Saint-Germain or, you know, there's another couple of moves to get one of our rivals as well. I think that'd be quite nice, and that's possible and can happen. So, you know, across the board, really, it is the two Portuguese sides and Salzburg, if we're honest about it, and then everything else sort of dips from there. The Portuguese aspect as well, it offers, I don't think there'd be walks in the park. I actually saw a little bit of Benfica last night and I thought they looked handy. But it's the idea of us getting to go to Portugal possibly in February, all things allowed. Suddenly, after the last couple of days, feels like some sort of pot of gold on the horizon.
Yeah, nice.
So
I've never been to Portugal.
I've never been to a city. So I've never been to Porto. I've never been to Lisbon. So I've been to Portugal on a holiday, but I've never been to Porto or Lisbon, and I think I'd very much like the opportunity to do so. Sit in some markets, have the sun rain down on us.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Sporting are tied at the top of the league with Porto. They finished runners-up to Ajax in the group. Ajax absolutely ran away with that group like Liverpool did with theirs. Benfica are third in the Portuguese league. They've lost a couple of games in that league, and yet you would fancy Liverpool against either of those, really. Let us know in the comments who you fancy and why. We are live, so we are having a little glance at your comments here.
Sporting are quite interesting in that it's an interesting coach, it's an interesting setup, and he's trying to do something there. So I think he's a coach who's trying to make a name for himself. So I'm not saying that like it's a positive or a negative. I think sometimes those sorts of characters coming and facing Liverpool is no bad thing, because I think suddenly you can have all the ideas you want in the world against Liverpool, and then you run into like Liverpool, you run into them and you come out the other side and you mincemeat. And I think that's very possibly what happens there. So I'm absolutely fine with that. I think Paris Saint-Germain would just become, it's more the idea that it becomes whatever's happening that week, the biggest thing that's happening in world football is Paris Saint-Germain versus Liverpool. And I think that's what we want to avoid. You know, the idea of us versus Messi, references back to 2019, Mbappe, the fondness Klopp's got for him. And understandably our players, Mo Salah is a great example of it. What are you focusing on? Are you focusing on your Saturday game or the idea that you've got these on Tuesday? And I think it would just become, at a time where as long as possible we need calm, we need to we'll play these teams, the last 8, the last 4, the final. They'll be massive. The idea of a massive last 16, I'm just not. I think what in the interest of the football club, the last 16 needs to just become the flow of us playing football and trying to win the big trophies.
Yeah, I mean, I'll honestly though as well take anyone. I fancy Liverpool against anyone. I think we're 4 draws away from it being an absolutely perfect season so far. We've pissed the Champions League group. We're right up there in the league. We've progressed in the other cup competitions, etc., etc. I think we're brilliant, and I think no one is looking at this and going, "Fancy Liverpool."
Oh no, that's the thing is that all of those teams you've just mentioned there are all sitting there thinking there's the one we don't want.
They're all like,
there's the one we don't want, and the one that they all won't want more than any other is Liverpool. I think that they'll have a view that it's no one on one of us. Sides won't really want City, and I think that sides, Paris Saint-Germain might fancy it over 2 legs against City, but they can't get City now because they're in the same group as them, and no one will want Bayern Munich. It would suit us down to the ground if it was Bayern Munich versus Paris Saint-Germain. There will be nothing better in that draw than Bayern Munich versus Paris Saint-Germain, and get rid of one of them.
Well, Liverpool now are third favourites to win a 7th European Cup. Man City are favourites 3-1, Bayern Munich 4-1, Liverpool 5-1. PSG 7, Chelsea 9, Man United, come on, 14-1, Real Madrid 14-1, and you can get 16 on Ajax. So there you go. Other thing I wanted to talk, hang on, we'll see what you're saying. Let's have a quick look at that before we move on. Grizz can't pour the other teams, Exactly.
That's the spirit.
Michael says, I don't want Atalanta, to be honest, they're a bit of a wild team.
They are.
Ray says, morning lads, do you think we spiritually broke Barcelona a couple of years ago? Every chance, mate. If you didn't see, they are now out of the Champions League, which is quite funny when they were linked with a move for Mo Salah. All the best with that, lads.
Yeah, he likes to play Champions League football.
And he likes to play in a team that's challenging for the title as well, and they're not doing that in Spain. Benfica would be nice. Someone says they're cursed. Don't know about this curse, but go on. What else have we got? I'd like PSG in the semis, says Crisp Ian Poulsen.
Fair.
I like this from Barry. This is the spirit. Bring on whoever. We are the mighty Reds. Go with Barry, lad. So the other thing then I wanted to talk about this morning is we've said a lot on these shows about Mo Salah does not get the respect he deserves. We've been saying for years how brilliant he is, how good he is, how he should be ranked much higher in the rankings of best players in the world, all of those kind of things. 7th in the Ballon d'Or, please, all of that. Anyway, all of a sudden, everyone's clicked on, it seems, like a memo's gone round and they've gone, he's good, him, you know. And it's really, it's nice to read, I'll be honest with you, as a Liverpool fan. So if you haven't seen it already, you've got Pat Nevin, for instance, on the BBC, who I like anyway, despite his club history. He says, he's talking about Mo's finish in the Champions League. He says, what percentage of players lash that over the bar? It sounds simple, but the ball's coming at him at a bit of pace, even in slow motion. It looks at pace.
Yeah.
He has to take it on the upward volley, and he says, and I promise you 90% of players would put that over the bar. He says he kicks the ball sometimes a way that other players don't kick it, and it's a bit weird. And he says, and it's not just because he's a lefty. He says sometimes when he comes in from the right-hand side and there's no back lift, he thinks of taking shots on that others don't. I said most players would have put that over the bar. In fact, most players would have taken a touch and then shot. It's beautiful, says Nevin.
I mean, he was always the indie kid's delight, Pat Nevin.
Hence my small love for him.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I do have a screenshot of Pat Nevin doing reviewing singles in the 1986 NME.
Amazing.
Which I would recommend if you can find it. It's not difficult to find online. And his views on each and every one of them. The thing with this, and that specific thing, I'm glad he's focused on that, because I thought at the time that was just sort of deemed a bit of a reboundy one, and it is unreal how he does manage to control it and ensure that it hits the back of the net. I also think Origi's header was excellent as well. Just really, power on it. Yeah, just really, really good stuff. But then power and direction. He takes the goalkeeper out of the equation completely. What I think with Salah at the minute is he's not just having a lot of attempts; he's having really good ones. And if it's not on for him, he's finding someone else and knowing that the chances are going to come. Yeah. I was wandering around various places yesterday that had tellies on with Sky Sports News, and they have the whirling stats, and it's most shots in the Premier League, Mo Salah, second most shots, Sadio Mane. But these are all high-value shots. This isn't not all, but this isn't the idea of, sometimes...
Most of them, no. Most of them are in the box.
Exactly, most of them are in the box. Most of them are plausible attempts. This isn't the idea of someone who keeps picking it up from 25 yards. Like Harry Kane, to be honest, and lashing at it, but Kane's so good that a lot of them hit the back of the net. This is someone who's picking his moments and who's in so much control of everything around him. And I think the reason why he's getting the praise that he's getting is because is this idea that I think he has got a teeny bit better. But in getting a teeny bit better, he was already the best. In getting a teeny bit better, he's transcending everyone. And I think that suits... Firstly, it suits the idea of being able to talk about the Premier League. It's the first time, I would say, in 12 years, where the Premier League's been able to have an argument to say we've got the best player in the world. Yeah. Because of Messi and because of Messi's career. Yeah. And Liverpool have got the best player in the world for the first time since maybe Steven Gerrard was the best player in the world. We've got the best player in the world. And he is transcending that sort of stuff. And everything he does... What I think is interesting about him is everything he does is so much in the service of scoring goals and winning games for Liverpool that he makes it's unfussy almost. Even like his touch against Wolves is unreal. What he does, it's unbelievable what he does. But he's doing it solely. He doesn't then do what some players would do after the first touch. That
Sucks in Hoover.
Yeah, very good. He doesn't do what I tell you. You can take the boy out of the sport. He doesn't do what a lot of players would do after that first touch. Was how on earth do I score the goal? Liverpool are going to score the goal. And even the ball into Origi's just a straightforward one, gets the turn on and goes from there. I think he's so unfussy, but he's so brilliant at what he does, and he just makes you burst out laughing.
He does, he's absolutely brilliant. I love as well, there's a piece in The Athletic this morning from Alan Shearer, and he goes through every one of Mo's goals so far this season and analyses them. Now, we can't do that here, we'd be here all day. So I've just took a little bit of, where he's talking about his game. Well, the headline is "The Whip, the Timing, the Genius." Alan Shearer analyses Mohamed Salah's Liverpool goals, and he's talking about the Norwich one here. And he says, look at Salah's position, and he's outside the penalty area when the corner's played. How many other world-class forwards would be waiting back there? In the language of football, we often say the ball fell to the striker as if it was an accident. But this isn't a fluke. He sniffed out the chance, which is part of his genius. He says, granted, the defending from Norwich is shocking, there's nobody close to him, but Salah is bright enough to know where the ball is going to fall. Watch it again, it's as if he's psychic. There he is, not quite central, in the perfect position to touch it onto his favourite left foot for that cultured little finish we've seen so many times. He says you can learn to be in the right place at the right time. Most of it's down to experience, and the more you score, the more you understand where the ball will fall and how defenders will react. It becomes instinct. You get the smell of it, the feeling for it, and for some players the instinct is just there. But the longer you're in the game, the more intuitive it becomes. And that's just one goal. Like I say, he works through them all. And I don't know how much people out there watched Alan Shearer when he was playing, or how old you are, or what part of the world you're from. But let me tell you, he was fucking good at scoring goals. So this fella talking in these terms again about Mo just makes for a lovely read.
It makes for a lovely read. It also, as you say, Shearer was unbelievable. Shearer's underrated now, frankly, in terms of what he could do. He was. I mean, one of the reasons again why Shearer is a little bit underrated is there was something unfussy about a lot of what Shearer would do, which is that he would kick the ball unfathomably hard. Yeah. You'd never seen football struck as hard as Alan Shearer could strike them at times.
Thing to do as well.
Yeah, because the harder you kick it, the much harder it is to deal with, and he would absolutely leather it. But the thing about instinct in there is for me the most important thing, but also that instinct is an instinct. That you can train it, you can think about it. And it's the idea that what you can make look instinctive, if you put the hard yards in and if you're working with your coaching team and they're saying, so when we put this corner into this area, that we've done the analysis, or you can go away and do the analysis, or both, this is where it's most likely to drop next, and this is what you're going to have to be alive to. And then there he is. And I think that at times what we can end up sort of describing as instinct, what it takes away is the brilliance of the footballers. You know, it's not, I don't like it sometimes when someone says, even though, I mean, I say it at times as well, so don't get me wrong, he's gambled there. Gambling full stop's a really interesting concept, obviously, but in that use of the word gambling's really interesting in that there are a number of things that could happen. Some are a bit more likely than others. So it's not 100% X will happen, so therefore you can say, well, it is a bit of a gamble. But what Mo Salah does so much of the time is he does the thing and he knows what the thing is that's 38% likeliest to happen versus the thing that's 35% likeliest to happen. So at which point there, what's he doing? He's taking is he gambling? Well, yeah, he is. But if he's doing the most likely, if he's anticipating the most likely outcome, then that's not gambling. And that to me is what another thing that he's absolutely brilliant at. Again, to go back just to simply that goal against Wolves, he backs the idea that Virgil van Dijk's going to be able to make that pass. He pulls into that area. He backs the idea that Hoover is just jogging back into position, who's only just come on, is likely to not quite be right to be able to cut this out. So he's ready for it. You don't make the touch without there being an element of the gamble. So sometimes if it could go a bit wrong, it could bounce off him, it could do this, Hoover could get there first. There's a list of things that could happen, and then he might look a little bit ungainly. But why he gets so much joy is because he backs not just himself, but the right thing. And at the minute, again, he's in this rarefied state where he's getting so much more right than he's getting wrong.
Yeah, so get on those pieces, as I say, because they're just a great read about a great player who plays for us and who means that every single time Liverpool play a football match, we've got every chance of winning them. A few more comments then. Let's see what everyone's saying. Someone said there, where is it? Come on, I just spotted it. Here you go. Busquets still hasn't posted it on Twitter since we beat them. Love that. Love the way that still comes back up. Someone should just tell him, and he should just put like Aya or something so we can stop bringing it up. Brandon says Pat has great music taste. He does indeed. Merry Christmas. See what you've done there, says the Wolfman's got nards, a regular in the comments. Jimmy Allen says Pat Nevin is an excellent pundit, has a weekly segment on Off the Ball in Ireland, which Gareth and Harriet are also owes excellence on. Thanks very much. And we'll pass that on to Harriet as well. Cheers.
And Pat.
Yeah, and Pat will be made up as well, yeah. I like this from, what's he called there? Fort in Bras. F-O-R-T, by the way, not he had a fight with a bra on. I still like...
a fort made of bras. A bra-y fort.
Who knows? He's a subscriber by the looks of it. Anyway, but he says, I still like to believe the Salah contract is done and dusted and it's just being wrapped up as a Christmas present. I hope so, mate. That'd be nice. That'd be lovely, wouldn't it? Imagine that just dropping on Christmas Day.
Christmas Eve.
Get in!
Christmas Eve first thing.
Yeah, that'd be superb.
Although we'd all have to leg in and do content.
Paddy says, Salah is a different animal this season, cold and calculated in his finishing, mystic in his dribbling, and that outside of the foot pass is a thing of pure beauty. Give the Athletic a shout. They might want to speak to you to analyse his goals there. Stuart says as well, new contract for Mo on Christmas Eve. Please, lads, we can't make it happen. Like,
sadly.
Someone says there, Shearer never had the finesse that Mo did. I don't think anyone's saying he did. He was just
I don't think Alan is.
Yeah.
Very much not, I'd say.
Oh, Sam. Or is it Sam or is it Tom? I mean, every year with this Christmas tree, right? Last year Sam put it up and it got loads of stick. And Sam took it a bit personally. You know, there was tears in his eyes a few times when we were doing Talking Reds. So I think he's left it to Tom this year, I believe. And Tom was getting a bit of praise in other Talking Reds. But today, Tom, Dave LFC Chats, friend of the show, said, did Stevie Wonder put up your tree?
Oh, that's moody. That's moody. Tom wants to see your tree.
Harsh on Tom and Stevie, to be honest with you. Yeah. That'll do us. We are dead busy. We've got to go and do loads of stuff for all our subscription stuff, both in terms of video and in terms of podcast and stuff on the website to read as well. Check all that out. Download the app. Go to the AnfieldWrap.com. Subscribe on there. Go to the shop. You can buy subscriptions as a present, and you can do it right up to the last minute normally. So if you forget and you're like, what am I going to buy this red in my life? Get them an Anfield Wrap subscription.
Absolutely.
There's t-shirts as well. There's mugs as well. There's prints as well. There's hats as well. Check all that out on the AnfieldWrap.com. Check out our content. Thanks for watching today. Up the Reds.